Welcome to Conversations with a Couple of Crones. We invite you to join us as we gather around our hearth and talk about our journeys with the gene keys and our personal transformations.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of Conversations with a Couple of Crones. So we have just given ourselves a little bit of a rest, a little bit of a break to rest and reset. We had a couple of awesome guest appearances with the lovely Hayley Curtis and the lovely Esther Viz, and then we had a little rest because there has been a lot going on for both of us. So we're going to go back to the way we used to do these podcasts before we were crazy and getting guests on. And we're going to start with our traditional question of where am I now? And we really need to ask this question because there is such a lot going on for both of us. There's a lot of things are shifting and changing. So we thought it would be really good to do that. And then this week, our main topic of conversation is about the Venus stream and how it is calling forth our yin energy. But we're going to start, as I say, with where am I now? And I'm going to hand over to the gorgeous Megan to tell us where she is now.
I love that, the gorgeous Megan, because right now I am sporting a large bruise on the top of my lip on the right side. For all of you viewers, I slathered it with makeup today, but about 7 or 8 days ago, I had an accident with my dog. I was moving down to love on him, and he was jumping up onto the bed to love on me, and his skull knocked my lip against my tooth.
Oh.
And so I had a fat lip for many days, and then it turned into this gigantic bruise. And but what's beautiful about it is because, I'm in the midst of this beautiful creative expression as I'm moving now through my Venus sequence called Gentle Purpose, Bright Wing. And it is mainly on Instagram, although I also post my videos on YouTube. But it's where I do every week I do a spoken video where usually I've been filming myself, right? Well, I've had this big bruise on my face and a fat lip, so I couldn't do it last week. And I thought, but I don't want to let go of the idea of doing a spoken video. So I thought, why don't I do a narrated video with video clips that symbolically represent some of the stuff I'm saying, and mostly from nature, some with people in it. And because, the Venus sequence is all about relationships. So that's what I did last week. So just this one accident that happened brought me into a whole new form of video that I don't think I would have tried if I'd been able to just speak without a big, huge fat lip, So that is where I am specifically right now. And yet the other thing that's been so exciting, and we're going to move into that, I'm sure, later in this video, but I bought the program Dare to be Divine, which is one of the offerings of the Gene Keys. And it's one of the smaller offerings. It is a course, but it's a very unstructured course. It's mostly a bunch of videos from Richard about taking the journey through these secret codes within the hexagrams of daring to be divine by seeping yourself in the energy of the siddhis, the Siddhic states. So I bought this 2 years ago, and at that time I was not in a place to be able to figure out how to do it, because he doesn't just say this is how you do it, or he doesn't have a lot of structure around the course, and you pretty much have to do it on your own. And I wasn't ready 2 years ago. But this year I decided right before the summer solstice that I was going to dust that course off and take a look at it again. And it has taken me into the most beautiful creative expression, a second beautiful creative expression. I'm doing two huge projects right now, which is so exciting. And so really feel like I've up leveled that creativity. And anyway, I will talk more about it, but I've combined basically the birds from the dream arc with this dare to be divine, looking at the cities with these 16 main dares and mushed them together into an oracle deck that also has a booklet of common ritual or just plain old, basic everyday prayers kind of thing. So that has been just taking all of my energy, and I'm so excited about it. Actually, it has not been taking all my energy because I've also been doing the Gentle Purpose Bright Wing. So I'm doing this beautiful flow between the two, and that's where I am right now.
Excellent, excellent. Um, and where I am right now is, I mean, there's so much going on, because we've moved into the Venus, but we'll be talking about that later. But I've also set out on this adventure with Megan of the Dare to Be Divine. We have this mental image of ourselves, don't we, Megan,
Yes.
as these two ladies, well, maybe not ladies. We're not very ladylike, are we? We're a bit
Well,
messy.
yes, but if we
Um,
were living in Victorian England, we'd
yeah,
have to be
yeah,
considered ladies, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
And we're off on our grand tour. So Megan is kind of leading the charge, and I am going along as her companion. And I was so inspired by what you were talking about, Megan, because Megan and I talk every day. And she's been talking to me about this, and I've been so inspired by it and by the visuals that you've been creating that I went off and bought Dare to Be Divine so that I could kind of follow along with you. But it's kind of just caught me up in the excitement of this exploration. Um, the just I'm actually in awe of the perfect timing of it, because these messages that have come through from the first couple of birds for the cities that you've shared, which are the cockerel and the crow, could not have been more perfectly timed for what has been going on for me this week, because it's, not only have I been seeing the beauty in the everyday and following the cockerel's kind of bossy order to wake up, wake up, wake up. And because we're having this heat wave here in the UK at the moment, so my normal walking schedule would be lunch times, but I'm walking at dawn and at sunrise because it's the only time it's cool enough to walk. So I've really felt like I'm doing exactly what the cockerel is saying, going out and greeting the dawn, and I've really been just noticing the beauty of the sunrise and the wildflowers and the fact that it's just me and all the birds at that time of the morning. But also the crow's message of that leaving behind of old identities and old patterns. It, it's almost as if you planned it, Megan, to the way that you have written the booklet, the part of the booklet, which is just incredible. It's mind blowing how you are marrying these images and these messages from the dream arc and the Dare to Be Divine into this glorious like in field guide. It's our
It
wild
is.
dare field guide. And that message of the crow to leave behind an old identity just came at such a perfect time, because I've had a bit of upheaval in my life this week. I applied for a job which would have been a promotion from where I am, and I was pretty sure I would get it. I was pretty confident. I was very confident going into the interview. I was confident. I wasn't sure I would get it, but I was confident, and I felt like I did really well in the interview, and then I didn't get the job. And I had told myself that I was going to trust whatever happened. If I got it, it would be the right thing. If I didn't get it, it would be the right thing. But even though I felt that, I also did feel a bit disappointed and a bit peeved. And it was very interesting because I didn't catch on to this right away. It wasn't until you said it to me, Megan, like the day after. And I had been talking to you in Voxer and saying how I was, a bit upset and disappointed. And you said that it's the Gold Star Girl would have been disappointed. And the Gold Star Girl, for I don't know if you have read any of my like previous essays and articles and things, the Gold Star Girl she's a part of my personality who she was keeping me safe because I was always top of the class. The Gold Star Girl was a name that my husband coined for me because he says I always have to get the gold stars. I always have to pass all the exams, get the top marks, be the top, get promoted. And that's what my life has been like, getting promoted in every job, passing every exam. And I realized when you said that, I realized that actually that was the thing I had to trust. It wasn't just trusting in this idea that, oh, the universe is going to bring something better along if I don't get the job. That actually what the universe brought along was this opportunity to leave behind that part of my persona which used to keep me safe when I did not feel good about myself. Decades and decades of low self-esteem and never feeling good enough. And I've got that shadow of inadequacy in my purpose sphere where we are at the moment, where I never felt like I was good enough for anything. But the fact that I would get the gold stars and I would get the promotions gave me something that I could say, see, I'm actually good at something. But that has shifted. I don't need that anymore because I'm moving out of that shadow of inadequacy and into the gift of resourcefulness, that I don't need the external validation because I know I'm good enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I don't get the job. It doesn't matter if I don't get promoted. It doesn't matter if I don't get the gold star.
Yeah.
I'm good enough just the way I am. And that has been, that's the message of the Gene Keys, isn't it? It's like that our true self is always good enough.
You actually are the gold star. You are the gold star.
Yeah.
You are the light.
So it was just, and that message from Crow about letting that old identity, I was just like, yesterday, it just blew my mind when I realized that that's what was going on. It just completely blew my mind. So that's where I am at the moment. Yeah. I am mind blown as I'm on this adventure, this Dare to Be Divine adventure with Megan, and seeing how, because Richard says this, doesn't he, in the Dare to Be Divine course, this is to be done alongside the Golden Path.
Yes.
It's not a kind of standalone, you're going to fix all your problems with Dare to Be Divine. You need to be doing the work on your shadows.
Yes.
And this is something, sorry, hit the microphone. This is something that just goes alongside it to augment that journey through the Golden Path. And I'm just amazed at how they're weaving together, how you decided to do it and then you let me come along on the journey, and it's exactly what I needed right now at this point on my journey. It's amazing, amazing.
Isn't this what he calls the field of miracles, when we reach this part of our journey where we are taking such deep responsibility for ourselves, and we are in a resonant field where all of a sudden there are all these synchronicities that I brought in the rooster and the crow right at this time,
I know.
And it was all, it was from me doing it. I wasn't doing it for you, knowing
No,
that you were just applied for a job. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was me following my own creative urges. And then, of course, I got tons of stuff just out of writing about these particular birds at the very beginning of this Dare to be Divine project. And then the timing couldn't have
I
been
know.
more perfect. But you
I
see,
know.
when we're all stuck in our shadows, we can't recognize that timing because it might actually be happening all along, but
Yeah,
maybe we
yeah.
don't get it, right? Who knows?
I know.
Um,
I know.
yeah,
But this
yeah,
is it. I mean, you were sharing that field guide with me, and those images, and it was like you were, like you say, you're doing it for yourself, for your creativity and your personal growth, and this is where you're at in your journey and all this amazing stuff that you're creating. But I swear to God, I was reading that field guide, and it was like you'd written it exactly for me. It was just
yeah,
like, and that's kind of like what happens when you first like fall in love with the Gene Keys.
yeah.
Yeah, like, oh my God, Richard Rudd is seen inside my head and he's writing my life story here. And he
That's
knows
right.
exactly, yeah, he
Yeah,
knows exactly
yeah,
what is going on. So it's just been absolutely amazing and transformative and just perfect. And I am in awe of your creativity, Megan.
no,
It's not just the words that you have crafted and those prayers that you've created and the questions that you've asked. It's the images as well.
yeah.
And just it's like you've just picked exactly the right thing from each of those cities.
It feels to me like it is the perfect project for me. I'm combining the spirit, the cities, which
Yeah.
as a line six, five line sixes in my chart, is so right for me. But then the dream arc, which I've been in with the dream arc from day one when the dream arc came out. So weaving the two of those together in an oracle deck, I've made so many oracle decks. It's just such a perfect project to be working on. I did just want to say one thing about this. First of all, the title is great fun. The Wild Dare Field Guide. And the second is this is not going to be published for the public. This
No.
is a personal deck because I am using material that are courses from the Dream Arc and the Dare to be Divine, and they are. I would, if I were to publish it, I'd have to go get permission from them and all that kind of stuff. And at this point, I have no intention of doing that. So please know everybody that I will be sharing bits and pieces on the website. In fact, there is an article on our website right now about it, but I will only be sharing bits and pieces because at this point it is a private deck for Lizzie and myself to to grow, to do our
Yes.
inner work through.
Yeah.
But I do promise to share some of the images because and they are AI generated. So if you're not an AI generated person at all, don't go there. Don't go looking. But I did AI generate these images with a very detailed prompt, of course. But yeah. Anyway, just wanted to do a little disclaimer there
Yeah.
before we get
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. But I mean, I think this is one of the amazing things, or for me, doing this work alongside you is how creative you are. How because Richard doesn't in that Dare to be Divine course. There's
No.
nothing about images or using the dream arc or making
Mm-mm,
an oracle deck or do none of
mm-mm,
that.
mm-mm.
None of that. All of this has just come from this deep well of creativity you've got inside you
Yeah.
to just make beautiful things. And isn't that perfect, that you're exploring beauty by creating beauty. I
Yeah.
just think it's wonderful. I just think it's wonderful. And of course, this is a very feminine project as well
Yes.
because of
Yes.
all that creativity and using the dream arc and the Siddhic energy, which is perfect for where we are on our journey right now. And this is kind of what we want to talk about today, is how we're entering, or we've entered, we're in the Venus sequence as part of the Sage's Golden Retreat with the Gene Keys, and how the Venus sequence calls forth our yin energy and our feminine energy. So I thought, just to start us off and to explain to people who might not be familiar with the Venus sequence or know that much about the Gene Keys, and they might be wondering, why are we saying this about feminine or yin energy? So I'm going to start off by just sharing a few quotes from, it's back to front, I think, in the image. This is Richard's book called Love, which he wrote to go along with the Venus sequence. And I just wanted to share a few quotes from that, just to kind of set the scene for our conversation, because it's just wonderful. And he says in there, you know, this is the biggest adventure of a lifetime. And I think it is. I absolutely think it is. I think he says as well, you know, this is the most important work we're going to do. And I really believe that. So
Both
to
of
start
us.
off with,
Both of us are on the third time. This is our third time
yes,
through the
yeah,
Venus sequence. So
yeah,
we speak from experience in
yeah.
this.
Yeah, we've both done it one-to-one with Haley Curtis. We've both done it in Haley's group program Devoted, and now we're both on the Sage's Golden Path with Richard and Elijah and Tanmayo and like about 1,500 other people worldwide, and all these amazing guides. So it's huge.
Actually,
It's huge.
I think it's 5,000 people.
No,
Yeah.
really?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, that's even, oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. Um, so, so one of the first things that he says in there is that the three qualities of patience, honesty, and perseverance will be vital allies in this journey. Above all, however, you will need to learn the art of compassion, that elusive spring hidden in the secret glade somewhere deep inside your heart. And that compassion, it is a very feminine energy, isn't it?
It is.
You know, he says this is an archetypal journey, and that unlike your activation sequence, which is your 4 prime gifts, in a far more feminine and sinuous way. Insights will come from the right brain, from your heart, from the heart of your intuition. I love that he says, this means that your logic will have to catch up afterwards, after the actual transformations have occurred. And he says, the transmutation through the Venus sequence is an emotional one. Your emotions are the raw material of this journey. They provide the thrust that will allow you to navigate the twists and turns of your karma. And it's all about water. The whole, he talks about the allegory of water that is used in the teachings of the Tao, the Watercourse Way, and all the way through, as we know from having done it twice before, all the way through the Venus sequence, the meditations and the pathways and everything are taking you on this Watercourse Way from water that comes deep from the sunless sea under the mountain, all the way up out of the spring, down the mountainside, through, you know, the rivers, through the plains, till it eventually meets the sea. So it's a very watery journey. And he says, you know, that this journey will follow that watery thread. And he says, we are entering a new world, moving across an epic threshold, and this energy within us, this feminine Venus stream, is propelling the shift. So it's feminine, it's soft, but it's also really exciting. So yeah, we thought that we would talk a little bit about how we are seeing the feminine energy coming through in our work. So do you want to kick us off there, Megan?
Sure. I actually suggested this because I notice with both Lizzie and myself that we are approaching this sequence so differently than we did the activation sequence.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at the differences, it seemed so feminine, so yin, the way we are being pulled to do things a little differently than we did in the activation sequence from the Sage's Golden Path Retreat. And for instance, for me, I began, and you would have heard this if you heard our last podcast with Esther, I began this gentle purpose, bright wing creative project where I do weekly creative things. I have an Instagram slideshow. I have that spoken video I was talking about. And then I do an art card and a art process reel where I'm actually doing the art card on the video. And so those are the three elements each week. And just by approaching my own sphere, because this whole last month, it's been about my 37.2, which is my sphere of purpose, by approaching it from this gently held structure of creative output, I have transformed my own self and recognized within me the energies that this 37 and that moves from weakness to equality to tenderness, how that works within my life and my relationships. Because this time around, I did the purpose sphere in the activation sequence because you do it twice in this Golden Path journey. And this time, though, it's so much more tenderly creative. It's allowing me to just let the energy from that sphere come into me and then out again in a creative way. Okay, so one week was about the shadow of weakness. One week was about equality. One week was about my line 2 and how I tend to jump into blame and an emotional reaction instead of allowing just my natural flow to happen. And so, but by seeing it through this very yin creative sharing, I just saw it from such a different lens than I have previously when I've been in this place, in this purpose sphere. And that's just one example. Then along comes this other creative project, which is another, this well of creativity that comes out of me is very fiery. I will admit that's, Jinky 1, that cockerel. It's a fiery, get that stuff out there into the world kind of thing. But the way I'm going about this creativity is very yin, because it's this I'm going to do it through animals. I'm not reading the city of these first 4 dares, Jinky 1, 28, 43, and what's the 44? Okay, that's the first 4 dares. I'm not going and reading the city from the big blue book. No, all I'm doing is reading the bird from the dream arc, which is way shorter, much more alive in the sense. It's kind of like dirt under the fingernails, kind of alive. I have roosters next door. I hear them every morning. I know that feeling of wake up, see the beauty in the now, So there's this beautiful weaving of this yin creativity, bringing in these Siddhic states in a very grounded, almost touchable. I could feel myself touching the feathers of a rooster, or I can see myself talking to a crow outside the window, there. And so it's become it's an embodied, actually more embodied project in a sense than the Gentle Purpose Bright Wing, because that one, well, maybe it's only because I'm in the 37, because the 37, my sage's word for 37 is mildness. So Mildness. Actually, here's a dare. My first line is daring to face challenge with a smile on your face. I didn't
Well,
even
that is
put two
you.
and two together. So, yeah, yeah. So I just feel so set. I'm set now for the next 6 months because the my first project, that Bright Wing project, is for the whole Venus sequence. But then Dare to Be Divine is a year-long project, so
Yeah.
it will move through the Venus sequence, through the Pearl sequence next year. And yeah, anyway, how about you?
Yeah. Well, I made a little list of things that I felt were bringing in the feminine, and Dare to Be Divine is the top of my list as well because it's the whole thing just feels very feminine.
Yeah,
I think because it is about the cities feel very feminine to me. Even the fiery ones, there's a I don't know, there's just a
there's such a
because there's a
mystery.
softness.
So,
Yes,
there's a
it's the
huge
softness
mystery
of the
in
mystery,
softness.
isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so and it was interesting what you said there just triggered something in me which I hadn't thought of when I was thinking about what I'd talk about. When you said about your line too, and this is the thing with what Dare to Be Divine has done for me is bring out my line three because I've
Yes.
got that adventurer, which I've never really sort of hooked onto. And I know I've talked to Haley about this loads. I don't get it. I don't get how I'm a line three. How can I be an adventurer when I'm such a homebody and like
Yeah.
the furthest I go is like I walk a mile up the road and a mile back sort of thing. Um, and she's often said to me like, but it's the adventure you go on in your inner world because the way that I journal and the way that I dive into that creativity in my writing, and that's my adventure. But Dare to Be Divine, that's an adventure that feels so line three to me. So I'm loving that, and I am also loving how I've been bringing in more actual creativity with my hands. I mean, that has been
Oh,
building for the
yes.
last few months with the using the index card art that you have been sharing inside Jinkies Unleashed, um, which is the membership that Megan and I are both guides in, Haley's membership. Um, and they've become a really important part of my journaling practice. But what I'm doing for this week, I've wanted to make cards asking the questions from the Dare to Be Divine, from the cards that you've been creating and from the field guide, and it's like I don't need to write pages and pages in my journal about what new dawn is trying to find me. That beautiful question that you asked for the cockerel. I can make a card, and that sort of embodying it and making something with my hands, that feels very feminine to me. That
Yes.
feels
Yeah.
it's just incredible, and it has become such an important part of my contemplative practice. Um, and the other side of that is something that I've really noticed a shift, moving from the 48 in the activation into the 48 in the Venus, is this much more gentle approach to
Mhm.
journaling that I have. You know, I mean, I said this to you this morning, which made you laugh, that changing this routine of walking first thing in the morning and then journaling, I almost feel like a naughty schoolgirl because for nearly 30 years now, I've been journaling the way Julia Cameron tells you to journal in The Artist's Way, which is fall out of bed, fall into your pages. So the first thing you do every morning before anything else from the world can influence you is you write, and that's the way I've been doing my journaling practice as part of this Gene Keys journey for over 3 years now. But this feels like a much more gentle approach to go out and welcome the dawn and be in nature and then come back and journal. And
Mhm.
even before I started doing that this week, I mean, it was a heat wave that made me do it, but it feels perfect. I had already, since we moved into the Venus, just had a much more gentle approach to the journaling. I feel like I'm bringing in more gaps. Um, like it doesn't feel like I have to write 3 whole pages every single day and it has to be really focused on every single thing that Richard says. And what I've been finding this week is, I'm looking at the course notes from the Sages Retreat, and that is flowing. My journaling on that is flowing really smoothly with no jarring transition into journaling about the cockerel or the
Yeah.
crow,
Yeah.
and it's just been incredible. Um, yeah, and pausing more and just taking that pressure off, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I really liked that there's something that Elijah Parker said in, I think it was the opening of the Venus retreat, and he said the Venus is a series of softenings.
Mm.
And
Yes.
and I feel like that started, that softening and that, I mean, I love the fact that you're 37 here feels really feminine to me.
Hmm.
That tenderness, that's the
Hmm.
the tenderness of the mother, isn't it? It's the
Yes, it is
tenderness
of the parent.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
of holding something really gently and the mildness of, that all feels so feminine. And of course, I've got the 48, which Richard says after gene key 2 is the most
Most
feminine
feminine.
gene key
I thought that
because
this
it's
morning too. Yeah.
yeah, it's that womb space. And that's what I've been feeling since we moved into the Venus, feeling like I don't need to be doing everything out there in the world. It doesn't have to be about, like, my contemplation doesn't have to be about like productivity, if you know what I
Yes.
mean. I don't know
Yes.
if that makes any
It
sense. It's
does.
about what's going on inside in this dark space inside me. Um, so yeah, it's just amazing. And I love how everything has just, it's all weaving together so beautifully. Um, I'm so lucky that I am doing this journey with you, Megan. You're making it perfect.
This is every radiance line two person's dream is this relationship I have with Lizzie. And she has line two in her culture. So
Yes.
we truly have that magnificent line two resonance of the partnership, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, we know, we are wise enough to know this is incredibly special and we treasure it every single day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's and I love the fact that here I am in my crone years, and I mean this is conversations with a couple of crones, and our website is a cauldron of crones, but I feel like a girl.
Oh,
I
I
feel
know.
like a child, you
Mhm.
know. This is this is all just this glorious play,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's just wonderful. It's just my whole life. And this is the thing though, like harking back to that gold star girl that I used to be. All my life, it was all about how I was mentally, how I was achieving things mentally, and you know, like I say, getting the high marks and being the top of the class. But in my heart, I really wanted to be creative. That's all. I mean, I even remember when I was at school, I had a best friend, Margaret, from pretty much day one of primary one all the way through, and we're still friends now. Um, and she was a great singer. she probably still is a great singer, but she had this great voice, and she would just start singing. We would make up all these little song and dance routines when we were at school, and I got, please miss, can we do our dance, and I used to say to her, oh, I wish I could sing like you. I wish I could just be so, I mean, I didn't put it like this, but I wanted to be as free as that, and that singing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, I wish I could pass all my tests the way you
Ah.
do. So she was envious of my brain, and I was envious of her creative talent,
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be creative, and I feel like here I am finally in my
Yes.
60s, getting to be that creative person that I always wanted to be.
Yeah.
And you're a huge part of that, Megan. Your inspiration and your encouragement and everything you're teaching me, because you are as well a teacher, whether you
Line
call
six. What can
yourself
I
that.
say?
Yeah, you're there to teach me, and you just, you know
But
everything you do teaches me something new.
it's teaching by sharing. And
Yeah,
sharing is such a gift for me. Believe me, this is a totally synergistic situation that you and I have, that
yeah,
our gifts feed each other.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm just thinking about this feminine aspect. One of the things I'm really loving that they're doing in the Sages Golden Path Retreat, they've moved their forum onto discourse,
Yes.
and people are sharing much more on there and interacting, and you shared that post about the Cauldron of Crones, and suddenly we're having these conversations with crones all over the world, and it's
I
just
know. I love it.
incredible. There's all these women around the world who are owning their cronehood, and they're owning their femininity, and
Yes,
it's just a wonderful experience.
it is. It is lovely. Just lovely. Um, do you have anything else on your list, or did you go through your?
No, that was my list.
Yeah. Yeah, I am for the first time, I think, in this Venus sequence, realizing how fundamental the purpose sphere is in setting up the roots of what's to come in the Venus sequence.
Yeah,
And I'm using a lot of language like that in this. I have I've already started the creative output for this next week, this final week in the purpose sphere for my Bright Wing project, and I'm using a lot of that, the wording of rootedness, groundedness, this, because this taproot of the purpose is setting us up now for so many openings in the other spheres we're going to go through, right?
yes,
But we always want to come back to this purpose. And not only is the Venus sequence itself calling us into this feminine yin energy, our own specific purpose keys are the
yeah,
feminine energy,
yeah.
tenderness and wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And so we just have a double whammy of yin here, and
I know,
yet
I
it's
know.
it's yin as strength. That's the other aspect I'm bringing in this week is
Yeah,
after all these 4 weeks of moving through this sphere, and of course the issues are around strength because the shadow is weakness, but strength from a feminine perspective, the strength of compassion, the strength of communion, the strength of grace, of tenderness, that all of
yeah,
those are these silent, secret, truly magnificent strengths that have been lost over the centuries of this patriarchy we've lived in, but are being found again, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That strength that there is in the softness is
Yeah.
just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because That's the thing. You think that something hard would be stronger, but something hard can break.
That's right.
It's,
They can't
can be
bend.
brittle.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas we can weave
We can
and be
wave. Yeah.
sinuous. Yeah. Yeah. I always think of your reed,
Yes, the hollow reed who
waving it.
that
Yeah.
can that in the heavy winds,
Yeah.
it still stays rooted. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's just, and I really love, I mean, we're so lucky to have such amazing teachers
Yes.
inside Gene Keys as well. I mean, Tanmayo, which is just like, she's like our fairy godmother, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
She's
Mm-hmm.
and our mother superior. But she's so, she's got such feminine energy. But Richard and Elijah,
They do as
who
well.
are like the sort of head of the Gene Keys, these men who are embodying feminine energy.
Yeah.
They are so strong and so powerful, but they're so soft as
So
well.
gentle.
And that's,
Yeah.
gentle. And that is so, for me, it just fills me full of hope.
Me too.
For the future, because we live in this, like you say, I feel like we're living at the end of the patriarchy. We are seeing the dying, and like anything that's dying, it's lashing out, and it's like the masculine is going really
Crazy.
as far masculine as it possibly can, and it's all a show of strength and brute force. But there's the rest of us, that blue wave that Richard talked about, that we're leaning into the feminine, and we're not going to make ourselves hard to stand up to that masculine. We're going to just keep leaning into the feminine, leaning in. So, yeah. I'm so happy to be here on this journey, on all these journeys that are weaving together.
I know you were talking about play. And the field that we're playing in is so higher purpose. So it really is high play. But there is still that sheer excitement that a kid has when they are in the midst of the best game they discovered that week, right? There is still that same childlike excitement, but we're dealing in a realm of miracles and this higher purpose and this amazing understanding of the archetypes of human selves, and just weaving all of that together is so frickin' fun.
It
just
is
plain old fun.
it absolutely is. Yeah, we're just here making mud pies.
That's right.
I'm playing. Oh, I love it. I really love it. Oh.
So we do have our questions. We have whimsical questions for each other. Did you want to go first?
Play.
Did you want
Okay,
me
so
to? Oh, you're going to.
I'll go first. So this is a kind of four-parter. Okay.
Okay.
So what I might do is I'll tell you my answer so that you've got time to think of what you want to say. Okay. So we're doing this dare to be divine. And we're working with the cockerel and the crow, the sparrowhawk and the quail in this first part. And they're calling us to beauty. So I want you to imagine that these birds are running a beauty salon for the soul. So what I want to know is, what treatments are these birds offering in their beauty salon for the soul?
How
Shall
fun.
I tell you mine, or do you want to go?
Well, you go ahead and tell me yours.
Okay. So I thought the cockerel could offer dawn dew bathing to cleanse the soul. And the crow could offer a darkness retreat. And the sparrowhawk could offer light therapy, because the eye of the hawk is the eye of the sun. And the quail could offer group hugs. I had so much fun coming up with them.
I freaking love it. I would go to that salon. I think we
Yeah,
definitely need to just have that salon.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so the first thing I don't have the cockerel yet, but the first thing I thought of for the crow is a mud bath
Oh,
because the crow's all about this composting, right?
yeah.
Composting the old. And so you're in this composted mud bath, composting all your old shit. Okay. Uh, the quail definitely going to have ceremonial tea parties where it's not
Oh,
just one other person. It has to be a group. It's
yeah.
definitely a group because, of
Oh,
course, the quails,
lovely.
you never see one quail. You always see a group. Um, I love your light therapy idea for the sparrowhawk. Absolutely. And maybe every once in a while there are dawn hikes up to the height up to something high. Both the cockerel and the sparrowhawk can work on that so that you can see things from a distance for that
Yes.
sparrowhawk, right? But yes, you're absolutely right about the dawn. For some reason though, I wanted for some reason the cockerel nails. Why am I thinking of the cockerel with doing nails? Ah, I have no idea. How funny. Don't ask
Uh,
me. I don't know why the fingernails came up, but
to cover up all that mud that's under your
that's
nails
under the
from the mud
nails.
bath. Oh.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Ah, so that's why it's four parts because there are four
Yeah,
birds.
there are
Okay,
four
okay, okay,
parts.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Got it. Oh, that's so fun. I'll have to keep thinking about the cockerel too. But I loved what you
Yeah.
it could be dawn yoga. It could be, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, since the cockerel, that crow, wake up, wake up, wake up, maybe it's actually vocalizing at dawn.
Yes.
Vocalizing at dawn. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The dawn chorus.
The dawn chorus. Yeah. Okay, so mine is bird related too.
Okay.
All right. But this is more a matter of where it's kind of a where am I now situation. So, because we have sort of done this in the past, but not quite so specifically. You are a wise woman in the woods or a wizard or wise one, whatever. And there are three birds, three species of birds that you can talk to. Only three.
Okay.
So what three would they be and why? And if you want me to
Okay.
go
So,
first on this one,
oh yeah, you go first. So
okay.
I know one
All right.
immediately, but you go first.
The first one is I can talk to nuthatches because
Oh,
and the nuthatches the nuthatches are bringing me information about things directly around me because they are chatty little things always coming in groups and they always have the best gossip. So they're always going to be able to tell me what's going on locally in my area, right? So the next one is a crow. No, not a crow, a raven. Ravens. Because ravens, I can actually talk to about really heavy duty things because they're so smart, right? But they
okay.
also have a much wider distance. So they can tell me about things that are going on all around me and we can have deep discussions about them. Plus, they can do things like they can bring me things or they can take things somewhere. And then the third bird would be a hawk. And that's because they can see the farthest, right? And I might not even talk
Okay.
to the hawk for really long times and then they'd come back. And the reason I actually picked these three birds is they're all here on my ranch. Nuthatches come every single day during not during breeding season, but the rest of the season we have ravens here who come and tease my dog, and then I have a beautiful Swainson hawk who nests around here. So
Oh, wow. Okay. So I would I would actually choose three birds who are cities Siddiq birds
Yes.
in my chart. So first, immediately was the owl, which
I
is the
thought owl
city
for you.
of
Yeah.
the owl is the Siddiq bird for my Gene Key 48, and obviously for the wisdom. Whenever I need wise words, I could go to my owl, and also for sending messages to other crones and other witches,
Yeah.
because owls are very good, as we know from Harry Potter, very good at delivering letters.
Well,
So I would
most
have
of
the
them.
owl. I would also have the kingfisher, which is
Oh,
Jinky 21.
right.
And the reason I would have the kingfisher is because it's not only of the air, it's of the water as well.
That's right.
Kingfishers dive into the water to get their food. So it's kind of, I love the fact that it's, two different
Yeah.
elements that bird is at home in. And also just because they're the most incredible colors,
They're
just the most
beautiful.
incredible colors. In fact, one of the cards that I made this morning, there's an orange strip in it, and that is actually from a magazine photograph of a kingfisher. That's its breast feathers.
Oh my gosh.
So owl and the kingfisher, and the last one would be the peacock, which is my Gene Key 64, because it's the vision of mystical illumination.
Yeah.
And as a wise woman in the woods, I'm gonna need
You're gonna need
lots of
illumination.
that, because I'm gonna have lots of people coming to me for answers, and if I don't have the answer, I can just show them my lovely feathers. So, I don't have the answers right now, but look at my peacock's lovely feathers. So that would be me. That would be my birds. That's a great question, Megan.
Oh, how fun is that? And I love how
Yeah.
our answers our birds are all different. Yeah.
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 What fun.
Ah, yes. Yes.
So shall we close down our
I
talk?
think so. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Though I
Well,
could actually talk all day, but I think Zoom will probably cut us off soon anyway. We can only record a certain amount, can't we?
no,
Um,
we actually pay for Zoom, so we can record as long as we want.
oh,
But
no, don't tell me that. Do you know what? I have to share this. Right. This is one of the gifts of the line 3 is laughing at yourself.
oh,
And I really did have a good laugh at myself when I didn't get the job, because one of the reasons, because they give you feedback on
yes.
how you did, and one of the things was that basically I talk too much. They said Lizzie needs to work on her brevity. So that's never gonna happen.
I am sorry, but I don't see how being a manager has anything to do with brevity.
I know, I know. It's madness, but
They
it's
just
their
don't
law.
want long reports.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I love that. When you told me that, I just was laughing so hard
Yeah.
because that they obviously don't know you because
No.
you are not about brevity. You're about this
No.
beautiful expansion of
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
And plus the whole ridiculousness of having to have a manager who is brief. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Sorry. Long form Lizzie.
long form Lizzie. And we celebrate long form Lizzie.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you all for listening to us this morning. It's nice to be back just with you and
Yes.
I and talking all about the feminine and all about what's been going on.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody, for listening in.
Thank
And
you.
we will talk to you in another couple of weeks. So,
Thank
bye-bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.